Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome everybody to the second day of the action from the FIA European Rally Championship. It's the 5th round of the season and it's the island of Corsica that welcomes the teams and drivers for some spectacular rallying action in the event that has been dubbed the Rally of 10,000 Turns. Beautiful countryside and a fantastic backdrop for one of the most exciting rallies on the calendar. I'm Jake Sanson, beside me is Andrew Coley, and we're in for an exciting second day's action, aren't we, Andrew?
We are indeed. These shots are showing lovely weather, but it wasn't quite like that first thing this morning. They've had a bit of mist and a bit of dampness again, although I understand the temperatures are up. So here we are, live shots now from the helicopter. Special Stage 8, Sarola Liamoni 1, 26.7 kilometres. Water coming off the hillside, showing that they have had some decent rain here in Corsica. Not too much in the way of mixed conditions yesterday. Bit of damp, bit of wet, bit of dry. Sarazan in particular saying he struggled to learn the Mini in those mixed conditions. You want nice consistent conditions if you're trying to learn a new car. It was a good day's action. This is how it went down. So Craig Breen then was leading the Tour de Corse. He won the first 3 stages, then this happened. Big sideways moment. Knocked the tyre off the rim, very, very unfortunate. There it is from outside the car. There we go. Barely a heartbeat from Paul Nagel. But that was the lead gone, unfortunately. They continued to push. Robert Kubica, he took the lead. But you can see here he's not exactly flat out. And this was an electrical problem. Fuel or electrical, they weren't sure. They tried the ECU, they tried various different things.
Low pressure, 5 bar.
All alarms. I don't know what they can.
I don't know what it is, no pressure, they push the car away. Unfortunately, Kubica won't be with us today. Great shame. Brian Bouffier on a big push last night. If you joined us for the live stage last night, you can see here some of those damp conditions, and look how brave he was under the trees. Great fight between him and Kopecky. It was Kopecky who took the lead last night, but it's Bouffier who's taken it back this morning with a stunning time. On Special Stage 7, Bouffier went 15.9 seconds ahead of Kopecky. That was the times after leg 1, so you can see 3.6 seconds back, but that's all been changed around after Special Stage 7 this morning.
Yes, indeed. This morning there were just 15 seconds separating them, but crucially it was Bouffier ahead of Kopecky. So now, despite the fact that we've got this 2-car battle now, because Breen also lost time on the 7th stage, of course. As you can see, he's down to 4th position now, having lost the back end on the 7th stage and picking up some damage at the rear. That's meant that Sarazin in the Mini is now up to 3rd position, with Delacour still there in 5th place, and Morin very much in with a shout of a strong finish here in 6th position at this stage, with Manzagol, Leandri, and then the production car battle developing into the top 10 now. Anya and Boniface. That's going to be interesting to watch as well, and they're the first 2 cars on the stage. We're back after the break. Make sure you join us for the action. Welcome back to the island of Corsica. Plenty of action still to come on the second day of action. 5 stages. The air temperature currently is 23 degrees. And we have a 20% chance of rain out there, and it certainly does give us the potential for some exciting action out there.
It does. High temperatures. Here's your start order. Reverse top 10 for leg 2. Boniface, Aigner, Leandri, Manzagol, Morin, Delacour, Sarazan, Breen, Bouffier and Kopecky. But I think really the big battle is going to be right at the front. We've got fair gaps, so it's Bouffier and Kopecky at 12.3 apart, and then Sarazan and Breen. Now, I think we could expect to see Breen retake that 3rd position if Sarazan continues to struggle with the Mini. I said yesterday he was learning the Mini. He had a 1-day test prior to this event. Felt he'd got on top of the car, and then yesterday, because it was damp, dry, wet, he never got his head around it. This morning he's gone out on soft Sarazan, and he struggled a lot on that first stage. So he beat Breen, because of course Breen had that off and ripped the bumper off the rear end of the car. But those are the big battles, 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th.
Well, there is Germain Boniface with Olivier Fournier beside him, reading the pace notes at a lightning pace, as you tend to do on the Rally of Corsica, just outside the Casa Comuna, ready for the start of Special Stage 8. And this is quite an intense stage, 26.7 kilometres. Jean-Pierre Nicolas, who of course nowadays is the general coordinator of the ERC, stated in his preview, it's a beautiful stage. It starts with a twisty climb, which Boniface is on his way now, under the trees for about 3 kilometres, and the next 8 to 10 are fast and wide. A pleasure to drive if you can find a good rhythm. And the last 5 kilometres are a quick descent to the finish, near the beach again. And this is a stage that is very hard on the brakes.
So Boniface then in the Megane, two-wheel drive, Group N, not four-wheel drive. So of course traditionally Group N has been four-wheel drive. So Boniface in the Megane will be hoping that he can hang on two-wheel drive against Aigner, who is in the Subaru four-wheel drive, of course. Now Aigner's is also Group N, possibly the R4 specification for Aigner. I'll have a look at the entry list in a minute and find out. Yes, it is an R4 for Aigner. If it's dry, then Boniface could do okay. He said he had the right tyre choice this morning, but unfortunately he said the car was too stiff. Now that was when it was damp this morning. It's now drier, so maybe he'll find that the setup comes to him. And again, in terms of tyre choice, we had some interesting contrasts on the first stage. Craig Breen gambled against Kopecky. Looking at the choices, Breen had gone for 4 hard and 2 soft compared to Kopecki's 4 soft and 2 hard. Now, in fact, Breen gambled the other way last night because it was damp last night. He went for the 4 softs and Kopecky went for 4 hards, but didn't quite come to him. There was a 1/10 of a second in it, so the conditions didn't really go either way. In fact, the drivers last night, the ones who were on softs were saying they were overheating, the ones who were on hards were saying they couldn't get any temperature in the tyres. So Breen, he needs to take a gamble to make up that time, and then unfortunately, of course, he's had enough and lost a bit more. Here's Aigner, who will be chasing down Boniface's time.
And this, of course, is the battle for the Production Cup honours. 9th and 10th overall, these two. Aigner in front of Boniface, but the gap is very slim between these two as well. 15.4 seconds, which is comparable to Bouffier and Kopecky at 12.3. Away goes Aigner.
On board then, let's have a listen in.
20. Don't rechts 2 kurz. In links 3 plus kurz. Rechts 2 plus innen. 30, kehre links 2, Achtung, don't. Viertel links voll. Leicht rechts. Links 3 plus, macht auf. Viertel 2 plus kurz, slip. In slip rechts 2, 30. Links 2 plus innen. In Tafel rechts 2 plus lang. 50. Links 2 plus kurz innen. In rechts 2 plus kurz. 30. Rechts 3 kurz macht auf. 30. Links 3 minus kurz. In spät. Rechts 4 plus kurz. Links 4 minus kurz don't. Rechts 4 minus. Links 4 minus. 30. Baum. Rechts 3 macht auf. Lang voll. 50. Rechts 5 kurz, 120. Don't. Links 3 kurz. In rechts 3 plus kurz. In links 3 don't. 30. Rechts 4 minus kurz.
3 stages this morning before they reach Ajaccio Airport again, so it's very difficult for these guys in terms of the fact that they'll have 3 back-to-back stages before they get to the next service area, so they've got to be careful on these 3 stages. It's probably the most likely time in the whole rally that we're going to start losing competitors, because the rate of attrition is going to be a lot higher at this stage, Andrew. I guess it's much harder to keep control of your car when you're in the mindset that you have to push to make up time.
I mean, the thing about having 3 stages for core service is obviously you've got to take tyres which are suitable for all 3. So you're starting early in the morning, we can still see some dampness on the road, the temperature will change as the day goes on. We haven't got bright sunshine now, we can see that because of there's no deep shadows on the road. Julian Porter's at the end of the stage. He said 20 minutes ago it was 20 degrees and quite sunny, and now it's, you know, it's really sunny and it's 25 degrees. So that, you know, the temperature is changing very, very quickly. As the day goes on, it gets hotter. We might see those with soft tyres struggle a little bit.
Maybe 4.
Day 2, I mean, those that are left, as I say, some of them have got fair-sized gaps, so there'll be a couple of battles. I think Bouffier and Kopecky will be very interesting indeed. I think Breen will know now that it's game over. He needs the others to have the same bad luck that he's had if he wants to fight back.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you can never say never in rallying. As far as Breen is concerned, now he's got nothing to lose because he's already lost it. So as far as he's concerned, he can just take his time and do his own thing, bide his time and enjoy himself. And Aigner, a beautiful drift through the left-hander. He's got himself a nice rhythm built up early on, and this battle between him and Boniface is actually one of the highlights of the day we're going to have, because obviously the Production Cup, while it's not necessarily as prestigious as the main championship, we could well be seeing some rally champions of the future here with these two.
Well, Aigner is in the Subaru, as we say, 4-wheel drive. He's up for the Production Cup only. Boniface will be up for the 2-wheel drive cup as well. Although he'll need to swap cars if he wants to do that for the whole season, because Renault don't use them again on gravel. It's not been developed for gravel at all. It's only a tarmac machine. So last year, those who were driving Renaults tended to use a Clio R3 on the gravel and the Megane on the M4 on the tarmac. So on board with Leandri then on the right-hand side, and immediately you can hear the difference between the flat 4 Group N engine of Aigner, turbocharged 2 litre. D'accord meaning OK. Same as the pace notes that we have in English, of course. In terms of French pace notes, you're going to hear a lot of them. There are 7 French drivers in the top 10, 6 in the top 8. Fantastic job by them. They'll be hoping that it's not Kopecky who ends up on the top step of the podium, although Corsica is very much a separate country. In the Corsicans' eyes to France, of course, the French drivers would love to conquer what is regarded as one of the classics, and it's going to be a fascinating battle.
I'll tell you the one who's particularly impressed me as well is Morin. He's really shown his hand in the first day, and I'd love to see him continue on that pace in the second. Let's hear on board with Leandri.
Et gauche 110 à fond, 80 mètres. Droite 120 à fond très court. 120 à fond très court, 50 mètres. Frein, gauche 80 circulaire. Gauche 80 circulaire.
Look at the way the car moved around on the brakes then. Look at the colour of the road. You can see, again here on the left-hand side, where the damp patches are. Some of it's shadow, but some of it is damp, and the damp is often in the shadows. Obviously, it doesn't dry out. We can see the sunshine on the bright patch of the road. Leandri not fully committed through one of the longer corners just prior to that braking zone, and that's the difference between, say, him and the guys who are right at the top of the top 10, but then on the brakes, almost caught out. And that's the thing, he's been able to read the road. We've had several drivers commenting about the colour of the road, and it applies to tarmac as well as it does to gravel. On gravel you can see mud, it looks different to gravel, and it's the same on the tarmac, but it's tricky then picking up shiny tar, abrasive tar, concrete, holes, you know, all the different things in Corsica. Unlike somewhere like Catalonia, you know, Corsica is very mixed in terms of the road surface.
And Kopecky was complaining this morning about mud on the surface. In fact, there was that was the excuse he gave for being so slow off the pace. He wasn't happy with his pace at all. But he did say that in the stage earlier this morning there was a lot of mud around, and that compromised him. So that could be a factor towards the end of the day, particularly if we get more bad weather over the course of the Saturday.
I must admit,